Let's dive deep into the world of lean operations management. Imagine you're walking through a bustling factory floor, or maybe a busy hospital ward, or even a hectic restaurant kitchen. There's movement, noise, people focused on tasks. Now, lean is the art and science of looking at that scene and asking, what's actually adding value right now? Because, if we're honest, a lot of what happens in any process, making a car, admitting a patient, serving a meal, isn't directly valuable to the end customer. It's moving stuff around, waiting for someone else to finish, fixing mistakes made earlier, producing more than is needed right this second, or performing steps that just don't matter. Lean is fundamentally about systematically identifying all that non-value adding activity, what it calls waste, and relentlessly eliminating it. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter, smoother, and delivering exactly what the customer wants, when they want it, with minimal fuss, resources, and frustration. Think of it like streamlining your own life. You wouldn't keep clothes you never wear cluttering your closet, that's waste, or drive back and forth across town 3 times for errands you could group together, more waste. You'd organize your kitchen so everything you need is within easy reach, minimizing steps and searching. That's lean thinking applied personally. Now scale that up to a complex organization with hundreds of people, intricate processes, and significant costs. The core philosophy is deceptively simple. Maximize customer value while minimizing waste. But the journey to achieve that is where the richness and complexity of lean operations management truly lies. It's not a one-off project or a set of tools you implement and forget. It's a continuous cultural mindset, a way of seeing the world through the lens of flow and efficiency. It demands constant questioning, experimentation, and a willingness to challenge the sacred cows of the way we've always done it. The birthplace of lean, as we know it today, is undeniably Toyota in post-war Japan. Facing resource scarcity and intense competition, they couldn't afford the mass production methods perfected by American giants like Ford. Mass production relied on huge batches, large inventories, and specialized machinery to drive down the cost per unit. But Toyota saw the hidden costs: mountains of parts sitting idle, long lead times, inflexibility to customer demands, and the inevitable defects that large batches could hide until it was far too late and expensive to fix. Toyota's genius, spearheaded by figures like Taiichi Ohno, was to flip the script. Instead of pushing large batches through the system based on forecasts, building it and hoping they'd sell, they pioneered a pull system. They focused on making only what the customer actually ordered, only when it was needed, and only in the quantity required. This seemingly simple shift demanded a radical rethinking of everything. To make small quantities economically, they needed incredibly fast changeovers of machinery, drastically reducing setup times. To avoid stopping the whole line if one machine broke down, they needed built-in quality at every step, judoka, and empowered workers to stop the process if they spotted a problem. To ensure smooth flow without large inventories, they needed perfectly synchronized production steps and visual signals, like Kanban cards, to trigger replenishment only when a part was consumed downstream. This holistic system became known as the Toyota Production System, TPS, the bedrock upon which modern lean thinking is built. It wasn't just techniques, it was a deeply embedded culture of respect for people and continuous improvement, Kaizen. So, how do you actually do lean? It starts with understanding value, strictly from the customer's perspective. What are they actually willing to pay for? This is crucial because it defines everything else. Any activity that doesn't directly contribute to creating that specific value is a candidate for elimination. Once value is clear, you map the entire value stream. This means meticulously documenting every single step involved in taking a product or service from raw materials or initial request all the way to the customer's hands. You physically walk the process, talk to the people doing the work, time each step, note inventories, delays, information flows, and transportation. Creating a value stream map, VSM, is like taking an X-ray of your operation. It reveals the stark reality of how value flows, or, more often, staggers and stops. You see the piles of work in progress inventory sitting between departments, the long waiting times for approvals or machine availability, the unnecessary movement of people and materials, the rework loops where mistakes are corrected. The map highlights the 8 deadly wastes that Lean seeks to eradicate: defects, doing things wrong requiring correction, overproduction, making more or sooner than needed, waiting, idle time for people or materials, non-utilized talent, not using people's skills and ideas, transportation, unnecessary movement of goods, inventory, excess raw materials, work in progress, or finished goods, motion, unnecessary movement of people, and extra processing, doing more work than the customer values. Seeing these wastes visualized is often a powerful wake-up call. Armed with the VSM, the goal becomes creating flow. Instead of work moving in large, jerky batches between departments with queues and delays, Lean aims for a smooth, continuous, single-piece flow. Imagine work items moving steadily down a production line or through a service process like a steady stream rather than erratic bursts. Achieving flow often requires dramatic changes, rearranging machines or workspaces into product-focused cells where sequential steps happen right next to each other, radically reducing changeover times so small batches, or single units, are feasible, cross-training employees so they can handle multiple tasks within the cell, and implementing standardized work, clearly defined, agreed-upon best practices for performing each task consistently, safely, and efficiently. Standardized work isn't about stifling creativity. It's about capturing the current best-known method, providing a stable baseline from which further improvements can be reliably measured and implemented. It ensures quality and predictability, the bedrock of flow. When flow is working, work progresses steadily, bottlenecks become glaringly obvious, instead of being hidden by inventory buffers, and lead times plummet. But how do you prevent chaos when you're only making what's needed right now? This is where pull comes in. Instead of pushing work onto the next station, or department, or warehouse, based on a schedule created far in advance, a pull system uses signals from downstream to authorize production upstream. The classic example is the Kanban system. Picture an assembly line needing a specific part. When they take the last part from a small, designated bin, that empty bin becomes the signal, the Kanban, sent back to the parts supplier, which could be another internal department or an external vendor. That signal authorizes the supplier to replenish only enough to fill that one bin. No empty bin? No production. It's like your refrigerator. You only buy more milk when the current bottle is nearly empty, not because you might theoretically need some next month. Pull systems tightly link production to actual consumption, preventing the overproduction that leads to bloated inventories and obsolescence. It forces responsiveness and exposes problems in the supply chain quickly. Underpinning all of this is the relentless pursuit of perfection, encapsulated in the concept of Kaizen, continuous improvement. Lean isn't a destination. It's a never-ending journey of making incremental changes, however small, to get better every day. It involves everyone, from the CEO to the frontline worker. It's about creating a culture where problems are seen not as failures, but as opportunities for improvement. Techniques like the 5 whys, asking why repeatedly to get to the root cause of a problem, not just the symptom, and PDCA cycles, plan, do, check, act, a structured method for testing changes, are used daily. Visual management is key.